Hope you're all doing well tonight. So I have what I think is a fantastic video lined up for you guys, all about energy and focus. Now, before I sat down this morning to put my thoughts all down on paper, I thought it'll be a shorter video than some of the other months. But then once I got everything down, I realized, wow, I have a lot of stuff to share with you guys. So buckle in. All right, I'm just gonna grab a drink of water and then I'll delve into my tips for better energy. I gave a couple of tours that were kind of long today at work, so my throat's a little bit scratchy still from talking for hours on end. So it's good to have this handy. All right. So having more energy is probably one of the top things that people talk about when I talk about their health concerns, how they'd like to improve their lives. And initially, when I first started this business, I would recommend essential oils. Then after a while, especially after I started taking doTERRA supplements, I realized essential oils are great for kind of a band-aid situation in the moment, but getting proper nutrients in your body is probably the most important way to go to get more energy. So I'm going to talk about doTERRA supplements first. So they do have fantastic supplements that come bundled all together in the Lifelong Vitality Pack. So I have everything behind me on the counter. So I'll just grab the pack here. And I've done videos and posted kind of more at length about these. So if you do a search for Lifelong Vitality, you'll find a lot more info in this group. But I won't go into very specific details, but I'll run over kind of basically what it is. So the Microplex VMZ or Z is doTERRA's vitamins and minerals, therefore the V and the M. And so these are all from very bioavailable plant-based sources, so our bodies are actually able to absorb them and make use of them. Then we have the omega-3 supplement here. So this comes from fish and plant sources. They do have a vegan version as well if you prefer to not have fish oil. Then they have Alpha CRS Plus. And so this is the antioxidant blend. Now, this is where I'm kind of going to get into the history nerd aspect of things. I've heard a lot of times about how like healthy people saying our fruits and vegetables and plants that we eat don't have the vitamins and minerals that they used to have, which of course led me to think, okay, how do we know this? Is this something that people just say, or is there actually evidence to back this up? And actually not too long ago, I came across an academic historical article online. And after this broadcast, I'm going to try to find it. And if I do find it, I'll put it in the comments. You can read it if you're interested. So they actually have done studies since the 1950s comparing the proteins and the nutrients, vitamins and minerals that are found in our plants that we're eating, our crops, and they have noticed a decline in the available vitamins and nutrients in our food. But there was always sort of the question of, well, is it the selective breeding for certain plant properties that are great, that they're like all that sort of honing down the plant variety? Is that why the vitamin and mineral profile has changed over the years? Maybe we're doing it by just selective breeding. But then, as the article continues, they talk about milkweed. And there's actually samples of milkweed saved from the 1850s. And so they've actually been able to go through and do an analysis of the proteins and the vitamins and minerals in the milkweed. This is a plant that people don't care about. They're not genetically sort of breeding it for certain properties that they want in the plant. So it's just kind of left alone. They've actually noticed a marked increase in the protein. So this article really convinced me that yes, it is difficult even if you eat really healthy. These days it's really hard to get the nutrients that you need simply through your food. So supplementation is really, really key to get more energy because our food is just not providing it adequately. So I'm going to highlight one more supplement made by doTERRA, which is Mito 2 Max. Okay, so this supplement is targeted towards supporting mitochondrial energy. So if you're not sure what mitochondria is, I'm not a huge sciencey person, so I'm going to be referring to my notes here, but I have it all written down. So the mitochondria in our cells produces the energy. As we age, the mitochondria within the cells actually become less effective, and you have less mitochondria, and also these mitochondria produce more free radicals within the cells. This is something that just happens as the natural part of aging, but you can combat this thanks to dietary and lifestyle changes, things like ingesting antioxidant-rich food and supplements. That also helps. And if you have free radicals in your body, that'll cause inflammation, which will contribute to reduced energy, which will contribute to a compromised immune system. You might get sick more, and then that will contribute to an increased risk of lifestyle diseases like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, that sort of thing. So if you're getting proper antioxidants and enough omega-3s in your diet, this plays a big part in combating those free radicals, so they're not wreaking havoc on all your systems in the body. And so this Mito 2 Max contains a whole bunch of plant extracts that actually will go to increase your energy levels. And when I started taking doTERRA supplements about a year ago, a bit over a year ago, I would take 2 of these, the maximum dose, every single day, and I noticed a big difference in my energy levels. Now, over time, after taking all of doTERRA supplements and seeing improvement as my health improved, now I have to take 2, like the rare day. Some days I take 1, and most days I don't have to take any at all, but I always have it on hand in case I have a morning where I wake up and I have a lot of stuff to do. So Mito 2 Max is a great supplement to have a look at. Another supplement that doTERRA actually does not carry, and I do supplement separately with this, is vitamin D3. So this is important for us people who live in darker northern climates. To get adequate vitamin D in our diet will increase our energy levels in the wintertime a lot. So the minimum recommended daily amount is actually 400 IU. What they're doing, though, by recommending that is just to make sure that the general population doesn't have rickets. So that's the minimum amount you need to have to not develop rickets. So I know most of us would like to do a lot better than that. Most vitamin D supplements come in 1,000 IU. I take additional vitamin D on top of what I get in doTERRA supplements. So I get about 2,000 IU in doTERRA supplements. In the winter, I'll snap a couple more of these. So a couple things to watch out for. You want it to be vitamin D3. That's the most absorbable. type of vitamin D out there. You want to make sure it comes either in an oil-based drop or in like a gel cap with oil in it, because vitamin D is it's an oil soluble vitamin, so it'll help you to absorb it if it comes in oil. And one of the videos that Ange Peters did recently, she also recommends getting a vitamin D together with some K2, because the K2 will increase the absorption of the D. So I'm getting down to the bottom of my bottle. So for my next bottle, I'm going to look into that and see if I can find something. Another thing you might want to work on is better digestion, because if you have healthier digestion, that will actually boost your emotions. It will support your immune system, and also you'll just absorb the nutrients in your food better, so then you'll get more from the food that you are eating. So I have a few things here that you may want to try. We have, first of all, digestive enzymes, just to provide enough enzymes to kind of fully digest your foods. And then I have two different probiotics here. So I have the PB Assist Plus. These are capsules for adults. And for children, we have like a little, it's kind of like a pixie stick. So you could put this out on a plate, the kids can take it back, and this will provide really great probiotics for your kids. Adults like taking it too. It's actually pretty tasty. It tastes like candy. No sugar though. I have a few other tips. One that is really simple, and this is one that I need to improve on, I know, is getting more exercise, especially in the winter. Getting out, especially exercising outside and getting some sun. Oh, the camera is going to start shaking because the cat's sitting on the table behind the camera. And so just doing that, getting outside, getting some energy, getting that heart rate up, doing some yoga, some stretching, some weightlifting, that sort of thing, that would really help your energy levels as well. And the other obvious thing is to eat better. A great way to make sure that you absorb all your nutrients from your food that you're eating is just to make sure that you have a little bit of healthy fat and a little bit of protein every single time that you eat, and that way you'll be able to better absorb the nutrients in your food. There's a few suggestions that I have if you just want to take simple steps to eat a little bit healthier. You may choose to just decide to eat some less processed food and make foods that are made out of real ingredients. That will automatically up your nutritional content of your diet. Or you could choose to eat more vegetables, or maybe eat less refined sugars. This is something that I've done actually. I rarely eat refined sugar now. I've even cut it out of my coffee. My tastes have just kind of changed. And really the starting point for me was, like, if I was at a party or I was sitting around a table at a staff meeting and like Timbits were being passed around or something, as it got to me, I would just take a moment, think, and go, do I actually want to eat that thing, or am I eating it because it's here or because everyone else is doing it? And if the answer was that I really personally didn't want it, I would just pass it along. And that was the starting point for me. And now I have it at refined sugar every once in a while. Like on Sunday, I went on like a really nice walk with a friend outside, a hike in the snow. It's cold. And after we went to a bakery and I had a hot chocolate with whipped cream and chocolate sprinkles and the whole thing, and it was great. But I've cut it out a little bit in my diet, and I've actually noticed, the cats are going crazy. I've noticed a big difference in kind of how I feel, and when I eat sugar, I'm kind of like, sometimes. All right, so cats are jumping on the table again. That's why everything's shaking. One more hint that I have before I get into essential oils is Chaga tea. So this is something that I have daily actually, and it just so happened that I ran out of chaga tea this morning, so I'm going to make up a batch of it. So this is it, chaga tea. It's actually a fungus that grows on birch trees, but it's one of these really medicinal mushrooms. Like you might have heard of reishi or cordyceps mushrooms. Chaga is in the same family, has a lot of antioxidants. It's chock full of a lot of vitamins and minerals as well, so it's just really healthy in that way. It supports your immune system and your digestive and cardiovascular health. It kind of does taste like mushrooms, Hillary, and reduces inflammation because of all the antioxidants in it, and I've noticed a big improvement in my energy. Kind of tastes, it does taste like mushrooms a little bit, like if you need a mushroom tea, like boiled a whole bunch of mushrooms in water. It also has kind of like an earthy taste, maybe kind of like, oh, what is that coffee substitute? Chicory, like sort of a chicory taste maybe. So you can get chaga just ground down into a powder, and so you can dissolve that in a cup of hot water if you want to make it kind of on the go. What I do is I have a little tiny crock pot which is dedicated to chaga tea, so I just have this going all the time. I put one chunk in about this size, or if they're smaller I'll put a couple chunks in, and I fill it up with water, and I just have it simmering away on low all the time. And then in the morning when I'm having my coffee, I'll also have 2 or 3 mugs of chaga tea at the same time. So once I've taken my chaga tea out for the day, I'll just refill it. And depending on the mushroom, it'll last maybe 4, 5, 6 days. Initially it'll have a really rich brown color, and I know when it's out, when it starts to be kind of very light and beige, it doesn't have very much of a taste anymore, then I know that my chaga mushroom is spent. So behind me here, oh good, you guys can see, I've got my crock pot. I think I bought this little crock pot at Kitchen Stuff Plus for like $15. It's well worth it, and this I find works a little bit better for me to just have it already going, so I don't have to make it up every single day. It's just a lot simpler. I pour the water in, I turned it on low, and I just have a scoop right next to it at all times. And there you go. That's all it is. Now I'll have chaga tea going in the morning. When I went on my trip in September, I noticed a big difference at the end of the 2 weeks when I was away, because I wasn't having this chaga tea, and so I started to actually feel some creakiness and a little bit of joint pain that I experience, just sort of a leftover from chemotherapy, and also a side effect from the medication I'm taking for my breast cancer. So I was taking the supplements, but it was interesting to notice a difference without the chaga tea. So it's a little bit of evidence that it actually does do something for me besides the fact that I like it. So let's get to essential oils, shall we? Okay, so if you think you might be experiencing low energy and focus, maybe due to hormonal issues if you're a woman, I have a couple things to suggest for you to kind of target that. Now, we do have an essential oil blend called ClaryCalm. Here it is. I actually use this every single day. It helps me to balance out my cycles. Also, because of my breast cancer medication, I have all these kind of fake menopausal symptoms. It helps me with these too. So ClaryCalm will help pre and post-menopausal women sort of just even out the hills and valleys. So I use this every day. I just roll it over my abdomen before I go to bed. I keep it on my night table so it's nice and handy, and I found it has really done wonders for me. doTERRA also has yet another supplement. Yes, I'm a broken record. Take supplements. And it's called PhytoEstrogen Complex. Now, it has estrogenic food plant extracts like soy, flax, and pomegranate. You may go, oh my goodness, I've heard you're supposed to avoid soy. That was a popular opinion a few years ago, but I've actually talked to my oncologist about this. I have estrogen positive breast cancer, so I wanted to know, what's the deal? Should I avoid soy? I eat a lot of vegetarian food. Should I stop eating tofu? Is that why I got breast cancer? They actually said that there's no evidence that people should avoid these estrogenic foods, and actually there is growing evidence that it will actually help to support you to combat xenoestrogens. So what xenoestrogens are, those are estrogen-like chemicals that leach out of our plastics. It will be found in a lot of cleaners, chemicals, personal care products even. So those are those hormone-disrupting chemicals that you hear about sometimes that you might find in your shampoos or other personal care products. And so the phytoestrogens that come from food will actually kind of get in there and block the xenoestrogens that are a lot more harmful. So you may want to consider looking into the PhytoEstrogen Complex supplements if you're having some hormonal fluctuations. Personally, I decided not to take it because its action seemed really close to my breast cancer medication. I didn't want to interfere with that personally, but it may be for you. All right. The next one is peppermint. This is probably my favorite for energy. I got a little peppermint bundle here to show you. So, first thing in the morning, most mornings, I am not a morning person, but I will take a drop of peppermint in my hand and I'll rub it together and I'll create that scent tent that I talk about. And I'll just breathe it in. And it really helps me to wake up. If I'm laying there going, oh, it's morning, I'm not awake. Now I'm ready to get up, feed my cats, have my coffee and my Chaga tea, and start my day. So that's my #1 tip for peppermint. If you have trouble waking up in the morning, I keep a bottle on my bedside table. It's handy right there. I don't even have to get out of bed to do it. But there's other things you can do. I have peppermint in a roller bottle. So if I want to focus on a task, or maybe if I'm driving a long trip, I'll put it on my temples and my pulse points so I can smell it. It's very energizing and awakening. And then I have the Peppermint Beadlets, which are little tiny beadlets with less than a drop of essential oil in each one. This is my sugar-free breath mint. So I just pop one of those in my mouth. It breaks, I break it with my teeth, but it is really this amazingly intense peppermint sensation. It's very invigorating at the same time. So you could do this if you are in a situation where you can't roll peppermint on yourself, like if you're in like kind of like a more scent-free environment. Peppermint beadlets are a way to go too. I also pulled out spearmint. So spearmint is peppermint's gentler cousin. They're very similar. They have very similar properties. But for small children, maybe you're pregnant or elderly, or you have a delicate health situation, spearmint's a little bit more gentle. The big difference between peppermint and spearmint is that spearmint doesn't have menthol, so spearmint is not cooling and it won't help you with better breathing if you're using it. If you have a cold, don't use spearmint, but any other use for peppermint, spearmint will work and it'll be gentler. Okay. Then I just wanted to talk about a few families of essential oils that you might turn to. First family, which is very invigorating, is citrus essential oils. Citrus It's amazing. doTERRA has a blend called Citrus Bliss. Any of the blends that contain citrus essential oil, and in fact, a lot of the blends that are uplifting feature citrus, or you could just use wild orange, lemon, tangerine, grapefruit, lime, and these are all very, very awakening. If you need a little bit of a jolt and you don't have very good energy, you need a little bit of quick pep, turn to citrus. Actually, I have, over the years, I've acquired a lot of essential oils. Still, one of my favorite morning time diffuser blends are two of the essential oils that I've had from the beginning, which is wild orange and peppermint. I put half and half, and it is blissful, amazing, very awakening. The other family of essential oils that is generally invigorating are all the spice essential oils. So cinnamon, ginger, cardamom, clove, black pepper. Makes sense. They're spicy in your food. They kind of awaken the senses, and they do the same in the essential oil if you want to increase your energy. Next, I have an essential oil and an essential oil blend that actually have some pretty interesting studies to back them up. So the first one is rosemary. Now, a fun fact is that in Hamlet, Ophelia says, "There's rosemary, that's for remembrance." It's in the part where she's like losing her mind. And so you take what you want from that. She also says that pansies are for thoughts. So, yeah, and rosemary isn't amazing for memory though. So Ophelia was correct about that. So I have two studies that I'm just going to outline when it comes to rosemary. So the first one is students were compared. So some studied, some did a memory test in a room that had rosemary essential oil diffusing, and some did the same memory test in a room without rosemary. And the students that had rosemary actually performed between 5 to 7% better on the test. So that's really cool. Rosemary is a great one if you're studying to help you kind of retain information. And then there was another study done on prospective memory. So what prospective memory is remembering what's going to happen in the future and remembering to do tasks, so to tick things off your to-do list. And so in this study, there was a rosemary group and a non-rosemary control group. The rosemary group saw 60 to 75% improvement on their prospective memories, which is amazing. So lately I've been drawn to diffusing rosemary. It's been really great as I kind of go about my tasks, like getting my 2017 financial records on order. So this has been really great. The other blend that I've been turning to help me to focus on tasks like that lately is Intune. Intune is my go-to essential oil blend. So it comes in a roller bottle like this. It has amorous bark, patchouli, frankincense, lime, ylang ylang, sandalwood, and Roman chamomile. I've also have a history of a concussion, so this helps me immensely with that. I roll it on, I smell it, and I immediately notice a difference in how I'm able to think and how clear I'm able to think. It's called the Intune Focus Blend for a reason, I think. So I found a couple of really interesting studies when it comes to the essential oils in Intune. Now the first one is done on rats, so I'm not sure how well this relates to the human brain, but I thought it was really interesting. So frankincense was actually given to pregnant rats in this study. So one group was given frankincense, one group was not given frankincense. but the offspring from the frankincense group did significantly better on memory tests, actually. So that's kind of interesting. The other study that I found, I think this is in the human brain, so this relates to us directly. It found that patchouli, frankincense, and sandalwood that are all in tune, and vetiver and cedarwood that aren't in tune were shown to increase levels of oxygen in the brain by up to 28%, which is pretty amazing. So of course, increased oxygen leads to better cognition as well. All right, so I get my Intune a few different ways. Sometimes, a lot of the time actually, I just roll it on my pulse point. I might put a little bit on my temples. Oh yeah, I smell it already. It's great. And yeah, I notice a difference right away personally. So this is one of my favorites here. There's a couple of other ways I get Intune. I actually took some Intune out of the roller bottle it comes in, and I put it in an empty frankincense roller bottle, and this way I can actually diffuse it. And so I just have this, I'll put it in the diffuser. It helps me to focus as well. It helps everyone in the room to focus. And if I'm in the situation where I can't diffuse and I can't apply the essential oil, I have my little personal inhaler here. So there's just a cap that comes off. There's a cotton wick here that has usually about 12, maybe 15 drops of the essential oil in. And then I often do this between tours at work. It really, really helps me. It depends on how much you smell the essential oil, how long it lasts. If I smell it often, now I have to replace it like every 3 or 4 months. If you don't smell your essential oil that often, then it'll probably last a little bit longer. And then last, just some blends that doTERRA has. I'll just mention them, the ones that are invigorating. So doTERRA has, for instance, Elevation Joyful Blend, which is great. I love this one. Cheer Blend is also really, really invigorating. Passion Blend is great. I carry this around in a roller bottle with me and roll it on. It's very, very centering and invigorating. I find actually that On Guard and Purifying blends are very uplifting as well, even though they're formulated for cleaning. I quite like them just for the emotional effects. Another one that I want to mention is Align. So Align blend is from the Yoga collection, but it's very invigorating. Other blends that doTERRA has are Citrus Bliss, as I mentioned, Motivate also. So there's plenty to choose from for different tastes. So I've actually come to the end of my suggestions for energy. I think this is the longest video yet for Julia, Patchoulia, Schoolia. Now, I haven't seen anyone ask any specific questions about anything. So I guess what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna log off. I'm gonna try to find that study and post it in here so you guys can read the study about milkweed over the last 160, 170 years. Yeah, if you have any questions from things that you've seen in this video, if you're watching it after the fact, just post it and I'll answer it in the comments, okay? So have a good night, everyone. Bye.